So hello everyone. Thanks for joining this Technia webinar. It's the first in a series of webinars. So stay tuned, go visit our website and sign up for more. And in the end of this presentation, I will also encourage you to give us some feedback and give us new ideas on other webinars we can have. My name is Jan Törnqvist. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Technia. I've been with the company since somewhere around the Bronze Age, I think, and I've met many of you over the years. The objective with this presentation is to give you an idea of how we see the PLM domain and also clarify some concepts. What's the difference between PDM and PLM according to Technia, for instance. We will also try to give you an overview of the ENOVIA 3D experience, as it's called now. You were invited to an ENOVIA V6 webinar, but since then the ENOVIA 3D experience release, or 2014X, has come out. So a new name, no more V6, now it's 3D experience. And we'll look into the platform, the structure, the content, the functional themes, and we'll also look at some of the user interface elements that you'll find in this application. The agenda for the day, as I mentioned, some concepts and terms in the beginning, clarify PDM and PLM according to us. And then I wanted to talk a bit about some general key benefits with a well-implemented PLM solution that really addresses all industries that are not industry specific in any way, but that are typically some of the key points in the return of investment calculus that you'll make to prior to your PLM system implementation. In the next section, we'll go into some of the look at 3 customers from different industries and take a look at what their main business drivers have been for PLM implementation. Then we'll look at the ENOVIA 3D experience, focus on the latest release, the R2014X, that came out last Friday. And then in the end, as I said, I'll give you some addresses and encourage you again to give us feedback on how to continue this. All right, so starting off with PDM and PLM according to Technia. These terms are beginning to get quite old now. As we can see it, it's a natural evolution that really started with vaulting, meaning taking care of CAD files. And this was in the 70s, 80s, that this became a real issue for companies, with CAD, computer-aided design tools, being introduced in companies and generating a very large amount of files that needed to be managed in an efficient way. So you couldn't no longer print everything out and store in drawers. You had to have an electronic archive in one way or another. So various CAD vaulting tools were created quite early on. It was a lot about two-dimensional file management. Eventually, three-dimensional tools started to emerge, and you also had to have some kind of quite simple change management for these drawings to make sure that the right people had access to modifying the electronic originals, etc. Still, back in these days, many people printed out and signed the drawings that were considered as originals and filed them later on in physical drawers. The next step here was when the PDM tools entered the market. So in came the concept of product data management, and it was understood and agreed in a quite well-defined consensus that the drawing itself was not enough to describe the properties of the item or the product, the structure of items. So you needed parts management. You needed to be able to describe the actual item with more information than just a file, the drawing file. And the drawing really just represented the geometry and perhaps material properties. You also needed to be able to store calculus of various properties, information about who manufactured this and who is my supplier, etc. The concepts of product data management are very design-centric, and they are targeted, as we see it, around a couple of main domains. So you have bill of material management, meaning structures of items for different purposes. So this thing consists of these other things, that consists of these other things, so it can be broken down. And you have various bill of materials for various purposes. You have an engineering bill of material that really describes the logical view of the product and as design structure. And you can have a manufacturing bill of material that takes pretty much the same items but reorders them and organizes them slightly differently so it suits the needs for manufacturing purposes. Bill of materials management and items management is one definite key domain, and also to have a structured way of introducing changes into this item management domain. So if I find out that this item tends to break too often, I introduce a new item with different material properties perhaps. But then I also need a structured way of introducing this change into my manufacturing bill of material and engineering bill of material. So when will these changes take effect in the factories? So an engineering change process that is very structured around this. CAD vaulting is still, of course, together with generic document management, a large part of the design-centric product data management activities. You also started here to create systems integrations between the CAD tools so that they would store their CAD files directly into the PDM system, or at least connect the CAD files somehow with the items in the product data management system. And also ERP integrations, meaning system integrations to enterprise resource planning or manufacturing execution systems that can take care of some more transaction-oriented things related to manufacturing. So the PDM system would feed the ERP system with the structures that are to be manufactured, and the ERP system takes care of manufacturing and delivery after that. So those are really the key domains in the product data management domain there. Once companies started to have their PDM, their product data, their design-centric product data in order, they started to understand that it was very possible to use this new law and order upstream, closer to the start, the idea phases of the products, and also downstream into after sales and services management and end-of-life management of the products. And that, as we see it, was really the birth of the PLM domain. So taking this product data management structures and connecting the items and structures, the bill of materials, with the requirements created in discussions with customers or mandated by regulatory regulatory requirements also connecting to the items here. Everything managed with a structured approach to programs and projects, and downstream making sure that all the items you don't intend to manufacture yourselves, those are treated in a strategic sourcing fashion. So inviting your suppliers into your own core system where you have one single source of product information. So everyone knows that you go into your PLM system and you get the truth and the latest updates. And also taking, it might be as simple as taking PDM that tended to be department specific to be global, used across all design departments in a global company. That really had some challenges in the early days before the web technology was ready. So taking the law and order, the structure in the design-centric information, use it early on in the phases with requirements management and later on in supplier sourcing related activities. That tended to be the birth of the product lifecycle management, where you took the full lifecycle scope of your product really into consideration. And this image illustrates a bit clearer perhaps the design-related information. Now this is a very simplified product lifecycle and the various PLM types of information that are managed within those lifecycle steps. So you have the, if you look at the design phase, for instance, where the actual design work is being done, this is where the PDM tools were present back in the days, managing parts, CAD models, specifications, and structures. So with the introduction of PLM, you had earlier phases of concept design and portfolio management, where you defined your products as a set of features that you wanted to bring to the market. And the features, in their turn, they were realized by parts, software parts or hardware parts in your actual designs. And of course, you here had requirements that that were put on certain features. How fast should something be? How resilient against something should something be? So easy to measure, easy to test requirements, and also broken down into the actual information elements that they are, not managed as documents with lots of requirements hidden in the text. But the actual requirement is an information element that points to the right feature. When it gets modified, you have revision and version control of requirements as well. Even earlier on, in the more unstructured idea and innovation phases, it's a matter of being able to manage in the PLM system the unstructured discussions and sketches and foster the creativity while still making sure that reuse is enabled for the innovators. Make it easy to search and find old sketches that can serve as a stepping stone for the new work. Further down in the design process, we talked about sourcing, managing the RFX flows, how you define and send out requests for quotations to a set of defined suppliers, making it easy for them to respond to that request within your system, and then you have a way to match the various quotes against each other and have a structured awarding process as well, closely tied to your core item information that you really are sourcing in. And as I mentioned previously, you have the transition step of handing over information to the ERP systems that are then handing over information of the as delivered items. What does the information look like when it gets transferred or delivered to the customer? so that you in your services management after sales can keep track of what the customer really has installed in place. That way you can easily, when you invent new designs that can make the customer more efficient, faster, more cost efficient, you can approach them with the right value proposition because you know what the customer really has on the in the install base. Also nowadays in the end-of-life management, both the actual sales availability when you decide to cancel products, the PLM system typically sends that kind of signal to other more sales enabling systems as response to product manager input. But you can also in the actual physical end of life of the products, meaning the recycling of materials, and have a large benefit of a well-defined PLM system. You have the whole domain of materials compliance here, allowing you to break down the parts in your design into materials and the actual substances used in those materials. So this way you can be sure that your products, they do not violate the regulations imposed on you by the, for example, European Union related to end-of-life vehicle directives or similar things for other industries. And this is a rather impossible task if you don't have your core information around the items and design of your product in order. Across these life cycle steps, we have certain PLM managed processes like change management, where you manage both the change impulses in terms of engineering change requests, but also the actual work to perform the change in the form of engineering change orders. That might get transferred to manufacturing change orders specific for certain plants. So one change could spin off different manufacturing changes depending on what needs to be done in the various plants. And of course, managing change boards and formal approval is always part of this. I mentioned project management, a structured approach to programs consisting of several projects with well-defined work breakdown structures, taking care of not just saying what the deliverable will be, but also keeping track of the deliverable status. So if the project task is supposed to deliver a functional specification, the task is marked done when the functional specification is approved. So those kind of interdependencies between the deliverables and the actual tasks in the WBS are quite common in the PLM world here. So project planning and project execution across the product life cycle. I'm not really sure how I was thinking in the butterfly synology here, but it was a nice picture with fine colors. So this is really how we see the PDM and PLM concepts. And every single vendor of a PLM system, they have their own definition, and the various industry analysts have their own definitions, and some are really complex and all-encompassing, and others are more pragmatic and to the point. For us, it's a matter of managing product information efficiently across really the product life cycle. There are some, as I mentioned, some key benefits that you will gain from having a structured approach to information management. And independent of your industry, without law and order, and a well-defined master data management concept. You typically have these islands of information floating around. They can be trying to collaborate by more or less structured means, email, corridor conversations, instant messaging, fax is still used today. And of course, paper-based communication is still relevant in many cases. Communication can be more or less sparse. You can have silo thinking, people safeguarding their own information domains. Information is a really vital resource in many ways, and other people could benefit from good stuff you have, but you don't want to share it for various reasons. Openness is key here. What PLM can provide is a way to bring these islands together by defining a structured information model, connecting the information managed by various departments or groups and roles into a common information hierarchy. And then, of course, various access restrictions apply, so not everyone is allowed to go into the contract details. But the people working with the contract details have access to the requirements created by the people working, the contract management people have access to the all the necessary requirements for the products they are sourcing in, for example, so that they after a while can perform valid audits, etc. So that is one example. The information that you typically store in a PLM system, I mentioned that in the previous slide with the artifacts, is normally broken down into the individual objects. So I gave the example of requirements previously. So in the PLM system, the requirements are objects that are connected with relationships to other objects. So what was traditionally a requirement specification in a Word document or an Excel file is in the PLM system a web of requirements objects connected perhaps with chapter objects to keep them in a certain structure. And then you can, of course, generate very nice looking reports when needed, when you need to send this out to a prospective supplier of the items you're putting requirements on. But the way you manage the information is that you manage it on a per object basis. So each single requirement has a life cycle of its own. It's in a draft state. It's under review by my peers. It's an approved requirement. And that also brings you the possibility to work more fragmented. So when this set of requirements is approved by whoever needs to approve it, it might get automatically shipped to the next link in the value chain, which might be the product managers starting to look at these requirements and thinking on ways to hook these requirements into existing features, or if new features are needed in the product to satisfy these requirements, instead of the product manager having to wait for the full set of requirements being defined. So that kind of information fragmentization is also one of the real key benefits, because it brings speed up and it really enables reuse of information, because you're able to group your requirements into modules that can be reduced, and the requirements point to features and the features points to actual physical parts. So you take a set of requirements, out come a set of features that can really satisfy these requirements, and the parts that you use in the design phase to to make it happen. That whole domain is the variant configuration and structured requirements domain. That is really interesting, one of my pet topics. I have to move on here or I will be stuck here forever. There is an upcoming webinar on requirements management, so if you want to hear more on this, please sign up for that. Another quite big saving for most companies I work with is the possibility to consolidate and also replace older legacy systems and other special domain systems that were in place before the PLM implementation. So the nature of the PLM system, in our case ENOVIA, is that it is a really, really good information management tool. So if you have built your own after-sales support system, project management tool, for instance, in the back, to start with, you might integrate these with the PLM system, and the PLM system in its turn, through some kind of integration middleware, provides the information to CRM, ERP, manufacturing execution, as I said before. After a while, you might look at replacing these home-built systems with functionality in the PLM system. So instead of managing information external to the system, you might want to add your own module using the configuration and customization techniques available in your information backbone. So making these kind of special tools integrated pieces instead of your PLM system, saving potentially quite a lot by reducing the number of systems and the complexity of your system landscape. Some systems are not possible to replace, of course, as a CAD system with lots of authoring capabilities. That's not something you would manage in a more metadata-centric backbone as a PLM system typically is. All right. That was just a taste of some of the common key benefits that are common across industries. And, we talked about the consolidation and replacement. We talked about information fragmentization, and we also talked about how these loosely connected islands of information can be brought together in a structured way using PLM. So looking at a few different industries, as I said, I picked out 3 of our customers and tried to describe their challenges they had and just a few words on the solutions, and the trying to also describe or using their words to describe the benefits they got from their PLM implementation. To start with, we have Gap Inc., a big US founded retailer in clothing and accessories. So Gap Inc., they have, I think it's more than 3,100 stores worldwide. It's a huge company, lots of different brands. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with most of these: Gap, Banana Republic, Old Navy. They are about 136,000 employees worldwide. These kind of companies, and we have quite a few of them as our dear customers, they have special challenges. Their industry have changed a lot in the last 10, 20 years, going from rather, as you know, 4 collections per year, the winter, spring, summer, autumn collections, into many, perhaps up to 20 collections, and a speed of replacing the products in the stores that is amazing. And to combine the sensitivity of the fashion industry with speed in product development while keeping costs down and quality at a good level is a true challenge, and that really requires a well thought through strategy on the information management around the product development. So for Gap Inc. specifically, the challenges they had was that they needed better ways of collaborating with their suppliers around tracking materials, all these samples that get sent back and forth between the designers and the manufacturing facilities that are typically not owned by the company themselves. They typically have partners manufacturing for them, and the distances can be quite far as well, can be long. So enhancing the collaboration is really key for eliminating passing back and forth, as it says here, of files and tracking charts, huge Excel files, extremely hard to manage and update. So the solution they went for was to go for an ENOVIA PLM solution with TVC overlays. TVC, that's Technia Value Components, our plugins for enhancing usability and functionality in ENOVIA PLM systems. So they went with ENOVIA and TVCs to really enhance the collaboration possibilities, to create this creative, collaborative environment for their product development teams with the suppliers. Everyone working in the same system, updating the information from wherever in the world you are, minimizing the amount of errors by manual handling, and increasing speed then by not shipping information back and forth by sending emails with Excels and things like that. And Gap themselves claim that they were able to reduce really the product development calendar, shortening lead time to market for their products, while maximizing the buying power by being able to consolidate materials and bookings to material suppliers. So superior overview gave them the possibilities to become a lot more efficient in their sourcing activities as well. And I think this is a great story and a really great company to work with, and to see the things they've done is purely amazing there. Please contact us at Technia if you want to understand more of the apparel, fashion, retail industry and their challenges and ways that PLM can help to solve. We have many skilled people with lots of business and IT competence in this domain. Next up, a Swedish customer, MacGregor, based in Örnsköldsvik in the mid part of Sweden. The company produces cranes for marine usage. You see the cranes put on the ship here, that's a MacGregor product. They're part of the Cargotec business group now. And they're the world's leading marine cargo crane supplier, really, with about 1/3 of the world market share. They represent a quite traditional PLM customer. A lot of the PLM initiatives were driven from the industrial equipment, automotive, aerospace industries, really. And I think the business problems that MacGregor had were quite common in those areas. Complex products. You have to combine as much reuse as possible with a high degree of flexibility for the individual customer. So their cranes are tailor-made for each ship, or at least highly configured for each ship. And you can imagine the regulatory demands from various classification societies. So to have the crane certified for safe operational in a certain environment, it has to really fulfill design requirements that are extremely high. And if you combine these complex products and regulatory requirements with great success in the business, with a high order intake and the need to grow the company really with profit, then again, you can understand that the needs for product information management that is really structured and smooth, they are high here. MacGregor became our customer quite a few years ago now. We're very proud of that, and that they're using ENOVIA V6 and also, of course, the Technia Value components here to structure up the processes, handle the product data, and really provide both their own employees and their suppliers with secure, is the key word, access to information. And as they say themselves, that all of their data now is in one place, eliminating these islands of information that I was talking about before. Everyone with a proper level of access has access now to the information they need when they need it. And a shorter and more efficient process, as they say here, have improved their customer relationship and the responsiveness to the customer's needs that might change quite rapidly. Automation, and also spending quite some time around the services domain in their system here, because it's the kind of products that are that have a high potential for a good margin service business. It's important to understand where in the world the ships are so that you can offer to schedule them with your services operators around the world, making sure that they have high-class maintenance all the time. We can see if we have time for some questions afterwards, so please keep your hands raised. Again, very interesting, exciting case. Lots of activities going on at MacGregor here. They are in the forefront working with mobility to enable mobile access to their PLM information in very interesting ways. Lots of other interesting things, and they are willing to talk to others and are often participating in our events, sharing their valuable experiences with other customers and networking. So come to our events, meet these guys, learn a lot, and give them your experiences. Last but not least, also one of our longest customers that's been around us for the longest, Mölnlycke Healthcare. These guys are they're a definite world leader when it comes to products for surgery, used in surgery, gowns, wound care. About 6,000 employees, production facilities in Europe and Asia. Medical devices and companies providing medical equipment in any way, they are very regulated. So to be able to sell their products in the US, they have to comply with the Food and Drugs Administration regulations. And the same goes for the European Union with the medical devices directives. And just to be able to handle those kind of regulatory requirements in this fast product development phase, that is a big challenge that requires really strong product information management. Additionally, for Mölnlycke Healthcare, they have been consolidating lots of their acquisitions, and that is of course a challenge to quickly get newly acquired businesses into the same routines you are using, enabling reuse, and also make it possible to let the base company benefit from the newly acquired company's intellectual property. So the solution here was to base this on also ENOVIA V6 and the TVCs, pure internet type architecture solution that will work in the product and project process, all the way from idea through transfer to production to their SAP system. And an FDA-approved document management. So the FDA has some strict routine descriptions on how document management needs to be handled, what kind of information you need to save and track and all that stuff. And with a PLM system, you can make sure that the regulations are met. Integrations, 650 plus users. They were able to improve reuse and control of the design process, which is key here with the regulatory compliance. Make it efficient to transfer the designs to the ERPs, and also the potential here to shorten the sales cycle. In part of their business, they have a configurable concept of providing surgical equipment. So shortening the sales cycle here means providing, through the PLM system, a tool to let the sales guys from a base set of available products configure what's needed for that specific hospital or that type of surgery, which makes it possible to shorten the sales cycle. The next section here is about the ENOVIA 3D experience. So the objective here is to give you an overview, not a detailed walkthrough of all the functions available, of course, or all the domains. That's impossible. But we will, as I said, come back in later webinars to give some more details on certain key areas. As I said, some new names. I saw in the list of people who had signed up that quite a few of you are existing customers of ours and of Dassault systems. And you are familiar with the term V6, the version 6 generation of PLM from Dassault. And now they have rebranded this, or actually created a new kind of structure for all their PLM and CAD that is based on a common platform, and that is this 3D experience platform. So that is also the reason for the new naming. Looking at ENOVIA, you have a common 3D experience platform that is common not just for the ENOVIA PLM system, but also for the CAD tools in the CATIA portfolio, the manufacturing execution in Delmia, realistic simulation in Simulia. Those are all other Dassault Systems brands. They all share a common platform now, that is this 3D experience platform. They have a common look and feel and seamless integrations now between these various brands, so that the user experience is consistent and time is really efficient when you don't have to relearn the key concepts of user interface elements just because you're moving in from perhaps CAD data management into more parts data management in ENOVIA. So looking more closely at ENOVIA, you see these 5 themes of functionality. So the various sub-parts now of ENOVIA they're grouped into these domains. So you have the product planning and program management, quality and compliance, global product development, which is also where you can find these sort of PDM-like design-centric functions, engineering, bill of material management, etc. IP classification and security. So making it possible to restrict information access in your PLM systems to only people, for instance, in a specific region, making sure that you're compliant with defense regulations, and also protecting your intellectual property from unwanted downloads and access. And the last areas are really the strategic customer and the strategic supplier relationships. managing requirements, managing the sourcing process, production planning process together with partners. So this is the themes, the functional themes in the latest release, the R2014X. The structure of the functionality is that you enter through your industry. Then Dassault Systems have packaged and defined a set of industry solution experiences for you that combines functionality from their different brands into a well-designed solution set that should make it possible for you to benefit the most from their products within your industry. For certain industries, there are many solutions targeting different areas. If you open up one of these solution experiences, you will come into processes eventually. And the process is what you buy as a customer. So a process can be engineering bill of material management or manufacturing bill of material management. Those are two processes. And within the process, you have brand applications. So within the manufacturing bill of material management, you will have the ENOVIA MBOM management and the perhaps another ENOVIA functionality for integration to ERP. So there you have the ENOVIA name appearing first on the brand application. But as a customer, you will buy a process and you will install the apps, because the apps that comes with that process are the installable items. These brand applications, they match the old products for those of you who are existing customers quite well. So there you have a direct equivalent to the requirements central application, for instance, or the engineering central application or program central application. They're not called centrals anymore. They are called something a bit more neutral. So ENOVIA engineering bill of material management is the old engineering central, pretty much. Not exactly 100%, but not too many differences. If you take a look at the processes that are available for ENOVIA, and here this 3D experience platform can be delivered in 3 different ways. On-premise installations, meaning that you will have your servers in your premises. There you have these processes available for the different themes. So some of these are industry specific, contract and program management for aerospace and defense, collection, development and planning for the apparel and fashion, while others review and approve. Deliverables-based program management are really industry agnostic. And go into the Dassault Systems homepage, 3ds.com, product services, 3D experience on-premise to get the complete list of the products and also, processes, and also click in and understand more about the business problems they solve for you. Second and third options for deploying the 3D experience platform are cloud-based deployments. So in the public cloud, meaning Amazon, which is a deployment option available from Dassault, you have this subset of processes available. And of course, in a cloud-based multi-tenant environment where lots of companies share some common resources, of course with strict access regulations, it's not possible to allow the same level of flexibility as with your own on-premise system. So here you have the core set of ENOVIA functionality for program management, requirements management, classification, and bill of material management for manufacturing and engineering, pretty much. Also with some hooks into CAD integrations. As you see here in the platform level, you have a collaborative sharing process, which is the fundamental platform process really for ENOVIA, making it possible to share information. On top of that, a collaborative innovation process that also includes parts for integrating CAD tools into your PLM environment. The third deployment option is to have a private cloud, and there Dassault can offer, through their recent acquisitions, their own private cloud, so you will not use the public cloud capability or set up with Amazon, but instead based on the Outscale company platform for private cloud, you can have your deployment outsourced with the benefits of cloud, but still in a more controlled way than the public cloud. Also more information available on Dassault Systems homepage here for the cloud-based deployment options. Looking a bit at the user experience, quite a few things have happened. One of the biggest things that you will notice as existing ENOVIA V6 users, if or when you upgrade, because free upgrade is available for you. This is for your, as far as you're concerned, it's another ENOVIA upgrade. You are entitled to upgrade here, and you will get lots of added benefit by going to this platform. You will see 3D spaces coming from the SWIM system or application that Dassault acquired some years ago, now fully integrated to allow ad hoc collaboration around documents in a very nice way, easy to create, easy to define the participants. You will see dashboarding capabilities, a certain level of dashboarding capabilities coming from the NetVibes acquisition Dassault made also a couple of years ago, making it possible for you to define your dashboards using a widget standard provided by NetVibes, also with the capability of extracting, collating data from external web sources and combine that with data coming from within your ENOVIA system. Lots of interesting possibilities to enhance the understanding of the information here. It's a unified user interface. I alluded to that previously. No matter if you're in the CATIA design environment or Delmia virtual manufacturing, or in ENOVIA managing collaboration around metadata, you will recognize the user interface elements in all the applications. And you have an easy way through this compass, the if we compass, to navigate. So in the north, you will see the social and collaborative applications where ENOVIA apps are included, also SWIM. East, you will have information intelligence with Exalead and NetVibes, searching and dashboarding. South, you have virtual and real. You have the tools from Dassault to create good simulations of realistic environments. And in the left-hand corner here, quadrant, you have the 3D creation tools for 3D designs and also manufacturing planning, all that. Another thing that is available in all these is the integration, the full integration now of the Exalead search engine, searching in metadata and documents and presenting your search results using the 6W tags. So who, when, what, where, why, and how. So grouping the search results based on various aspects of that information. Who, meaning perhaps the owner, originator of the information, when, timestamps, what type of information, policies, what language, etc. Making it easy for you to really filter out the information you're after in your search. Looking a bit closer into the ENOVIA applications here, when you click on one of the apps here, and I said before that these correlate quite well to the old commercial products, the essentials and parts of functionality from the essentials, you will come to the home page of that app. So it might be that you come to your list of my complaints or my audit reports, these kind of things. Lots of my things now, making access to the information you're working with or information you should be concerned about readily available. Also, I mentioned that the links, the interlinks between these various Dassault Systems applications are now everywhere here, making transition from one world into another easy, but also if you don't have access to any CATIA applications, for instance, you will be provided with information, links to get more information on the value that CATIA can bring you. What this really comes down to is it introduces a new paradigm with the 3D experience platform, with the same look and feel and the same data management for all Dassault Systems PLM related tools. But in the same way, it really preserves your investment as existing ENOVIA customers, because as I said, for you it is just another upgrade, which will bring you lots of added value, but from a technical perspective, there is nothing to be scared about or nothing that can cause you any major headaches here. I included this picture to show you that the ENOVIA part under the hood is the same ENOVIA part as you have known for some time now, and of course with usability enhancements, and of course with the same capabilities as always to further enhance usability and configurability by using the Technia Value components as plugins. So nothing has changed there in that respect. This should give you the possibility to really benefit from all the new goodies while protecting your investments in the configurations and customizations you have made. They will continue to work just perfectly with the new 3D Experience platform. Time's running up. This was all we had to provide you today in this session about an introduction to a short little insight into PDM and PLM and what the ENOVIA 3D experience is. I hope you enjoyed this webinar, and please contact us through LinkedIn, Technia, technia.com, or follow us on Twitter at Technia. Please let us know what you want to hear. We are here to provide you as much information as we readily can, so let us know. Send an email to Jana Ahlberg, who is our marketing manager, and she can have that conversation with you and see what knowledge we have in certain domains that are of interest for you. Please also look into the webinar series already set up on the webpage and sign up. You can come back later on and review this in the recordings. That's all for me. Thank you very much for attending, and hope to see you again in the webinar here anytime soon. I will open up for a quick set of questions. We have some with audio problems. I hope most of you have heard the presentation. Palle, you're asking if the presentation will be sent out. We can see if we can make that available. We'll let you know. Otherwise, the recorded webinar will be available, and by that the presentation as well. Ole, you're asking for the necessity for customization of ENOVIA to adapt the processes to within a company. And I would, it's a very broad question, and I will try to give an answer here. There's always a need to adapt, and you will adapt your system in various layers. You will adapt by configuring using the out-of-the-box capabilities of ENOVIA, and that is configure lifecycle states and access control and user interface elements. You will add, for instance, the technical value components that gives you an even higher level of configurability, working with more user interface elements and functionality and business flows. You will also have to configure, for instance, systems integrations, and there you have the Technia integration framework, which allows you to configure perhaps 80% of your integrations. And by saying that, of course, 20% remains that might be tricky or to older legacy systems that will require a certain extent of extra customization. So I'm extremely honest and saying that yes, you will have to use all of the configuration and customization techniques I described there, and there will always be customer-specific elements in all implementations. If the scope is not very limited, because then you can stick with strictly the out-of-the-box processes. Even in the cloud-based deployment environments, you have the possibility to adapt certain parameters, some schemes, definitely some access control. So that is understood by the PLM community that you will need to customize slightly. Not a good answer to a complex question, but I'd be more than happy to open that up in a one-to-one conversation with you there. Matthias, you're asking for any impact on the ENOVIA licensing. A few impacts. New sales to new customers will be done strictly with processes. Existing customers can continue to purchase more of their existing commercial products, of course. New names, new packages, and we'll be more than happy to set that up as well. Quite a lot of information can already be found on Dassault Systems homepage, 3ds.com. Pavel asking for a possibility to use this PLM system for marketing purposes, catalogs, printing. Definite possibilities. Many of our customers use it for that purpose, to publish approved graphics materials to other systems. It's also quite common now to integrate PLM with the PIM domain, Product Information Management Systems. We have a successful partnership with a company called InRiver that has specialized in providing this kind of information to catalogs and e-commerce systems. I'd also be happy to continue that discussion with you offline there, Pavel. More details on TVC asked by Susha. Please look into the Technia website, navigate, find the products and the Technia value components, and please contact Mr. Neil Fippen there. Matthias asking 2014X FD, will it be much different from 2014X FD? I probably need more meat on that bone to understand the question fully. Please provide me that, Matthias. Take Yaroslav the time being. Support for catalog creation. Some support for managing images in a rather structured way. When it comes to the actual layout, there are existing integrations to the Adobe design tools, making it possible to define templates within the InDesign tools and then auto-populate those templates from ENOVIA using systems integration. So I believe that is one of the more commonly used approaches. Any changes to TVC made for the new ENOVIA 3D experience? We are coming out with a patch release rather soon. There are always some user interface adjustments that we want to do, but of course we've had access to the 14x code for quite some time, since we're also a development partner of Dassault Systèmes. So the ENOVIA report generator product is developed by us, and that is a TVC product as well. So the TVC core that the report generator builds on is already certified against the 14x platform, and we don't foresee any issues really with the 14x. Okay, so Jaroslav, we're asking about the content, grouping products into seasonal catalogs. Definitely, that is part of the standard functionality in the processes targeted towards the currently the apparel and fashion and footwear industries. So please hook up with us and we can make sure that you can discuss that more in detail, how that works. Matthias came back. Okay, with some specific questions. I'm not available to disclose anything about that right now. I don't have the details in that information, so I'll have to come back. Okay, thank you very much for attending once again. I hope you enjoyed this session, and again, please contact Jana with information on more webinars you would like to see from Technion. Thank you. Bye-bye.